Hello.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Yeah, this is Simon Sentamu, a HRBA Capacity Development Officer. We are so excited to have you on the call. This morning, we've had technical glitch here and there, loading and logging onto Hangout, but I suppose we have a good number now to get started. Inspirational practices in local accountability. Now, this that's quite popular in circle to continue that conversation around experiences, methods, and tools of engaging local authorities in accountability processes. You realize that also our draft zero has highlighted in its program priorities issues around redistribution of power and resources. It has also kind of lamented around the declining role of state and increasingly state looking to private sector and other actors to take on social and public service delivery. You have also looked at some of the propositions, one on accountability as a cornerstone for democratic governance. And it also talks about the increasing corporate power and influence in accountability and governance issues. It talks about responsible use of power, and that is also emphasized in draft zero, under shifting and democratizing power, where there is an elaboration around different forms of power and how we intend or envision engaging in those spaces and expanding the space for civil society and people living in poverty and exclusion to engage actively in their local governance and demand accountability at all those levels. Now, there is countries that have had prior discussions around this in forms of skill shares. Bangladesh, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Palestine, Action Aid, Nigeria. So we have colleagues from those countries, and we urge you to share your experiences so that we learn from them and also pick pointers to input the new strategy process. We have a couple of speakers. Others are coming online as well. There is Ivan, there is Jovina, we also have Daniel Abrams, and I think Ahmed. Ahmed, are you online? Right. So I would like to open the discussion with some good practice, inspirational practice from Malawi. Ivan, you offered to share that. Please go ahead. We will give some 5 minutes for these snapshot experiences, and then we open up for discussion.
Thank you very much, Simon. Colleagues, my name is Ivan, and as you've heard already, I will speak about what happens in Malawi in terms of engaging local authorities. And I wasn't there when the skills share training took place, but I served in Malawi as a governance advisor for some time. And so I'm going to share my experience on that basis and what we tried to do. First, I will speak about the challenges I found. While they tried to engage local authorities, the practical challenge was that, as you know, Action Aid is not supposed to work as the frontline flag bearer, but rather to support the local partners to be the ones to drive the agenda. So as the partners are trying to do this, they need to get the attention of local authorities. And the challenge was that the local authorities were not recognizing the local partners as a legitimate. I think it's just like disrespect or underlooking because they are a small organization, and this kind of nature of problem. So even when we trained and asked them to go and do this and do that, they were not able to do it because they couldn't get the attention of local authorities. They would write letters and they would not get response. They would ask for a meeting and nobody would give them an appointment. And so what uh, the team and I did was to say, okay, let's pilot a new approach. So the approach was that ActionAid country office, the responsible person for LRPs, will seek appointment as a beginning step as ActionAid Malawi. Seek appointment with the relevant authorities that our local partners are trying to reach, but seek it as ActionAid Malawi. And once they gave us appointment, then we said, okay, as you know, we work with local partners, and as we come to this meeting, the main agenda is so they can share with you what they are trying to do and see how you can work with them and how they can work with you. So this made a very, very direct opening. They would say, give us an appointment, and then we bring in this agenda, and then they would say, oh, that's fine. And then we would come with at least 3 or 5 partners. And when we reach there, we'll say, okay, thank you for giving us the audience and for honoring our request. And here we came with our local partners. They are going to tell you what they are trying to do each after another. And then the objective is so that you can also see how the activities fit into your priorities for the district or the local government. And then it would be a discussion of this nature. And the objective of this meeting would be that by the end of this meeting, the local authorities have come to know the partners and they have also shared their activities in terms of what is the local government doing that is relevant or cross-cutting to what the NGOs are doing. And in the end, they have also made a commitment to cooperate with the local partners. And then we just make this connection, and from there, the local partners were following up on this. That is one. Number two was also in the same approach to organize a multi-stakeholder conference. It was actually a small workshop where we requested, as ActionAid Malawi, we requested local governments, the director of planning and development and the chief executive of the council to come and present their budget priorities and allocations and also the projects they are implementing. And we said this is to showcase your progress and what you're offering to your people. And our partners will be there, and they will also see how to complement your efforts. And this worked exactly properly. And they came to this conference, and our partners came, and as they presented, our partners were able to ask questions, and they were directly answered. They had access to information that they would never get before. And then there was also another window of cooperation after, saying, so with this kind of, for example, grants for women innovations, grants for women business, idea of development, how can we also, our group of women, how can they access this grant? Then this kind of information was shared. And from there, it sparked a closeness of cooperation. And I think I would love to leave it at that. This is a sort of approach to engaging local authorities where the space is a little shrinking or the reception is really challenging.
Yes, thank you so much, Ivan, for that very insightful case from Malawi around creating interface spaces with the local authorities, engaging partners and duty bearers, and getting them to make some commitments, at least for cooperation, information sharing, which is one of the key areas in our accountability processes, the 6-point processes. So multi-stakeholder conferences, multi-stakeholder dialogues are things that are seen to be also very fruitful in terms of enhancing local accountability opportunities. Thank you so much, Ivan. Can we
You're
now
welcome.
move to your neighbors in Tanzania? Oh, you are in Tanzania at the moment. So
Yes,
request
yes.
Jovina to share our experiences from Tanzania. Welcome, Jovina.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you, everybody. How are you all? I'm going to share an experience on the case of land grabbing, which is a popular case in Tanzania, Bagamoyo case. I will start how the process started. We had a project on a land accountability, and the action aid through their its experience in a local rights program. We have been using reflect cycle, and for us we term them as the community development cycles. When you at the project inception, the discussion started at the development cycles, where communities were gathered together and discuss on land issues. And that discussion, they were able to be educated on a land rights related issue in terms of what are the laws, what are the guidelines, and what are the provisions in in acts, some of acts and policies in terms of land rights. During that discussion, the community, they were able to understand that there was a certain multinational company which was planning to establish a project in their area. And the discussion was focusing on looking at how, if that acquisition of land which were given to those to that company, it was acquired in accordance to the laws and guidelines. Through discussion, they were able to understand that yes, they might lose their land, but also the acquisition of land was not in accordance to that guidelines, and it was termed as a land grabbing. They started to shout on that acquisition of land, which was very big and which was threatening the food security of that particular community. Then after Action Aid working with them, we thought to establish evidence which had to be presented to the government at all level. At this particular project, of course, it was inviting different level of government, from the local government to the ministry level, but particularly the power was coming from the ministry. Then we conducted research in support of Action Aid International, or Action Aid IS. After research, what we did, before we do that, we did community mobilization to ensure that all community are owning the agenda. And that community mobilization was also done through meetings. We had different meetings with the communities. We had training, at least to enhance their knowledge on laws, so that they understand what are provisions, and they can compare what was actually happening and what they were supposed, what was their stake in that thing. After doing research, though, yes, Action Aid is believing on taking the community at the lead of the advocates. We had a challenge, and I'm going to share the challenge later. What was the challenge? What was hindering those community to take lead on that campaign? Then after discovering that yes, Action Aid has to support the community or to build solidarity with the community while they are demanding their rights. We thought even we delayed the research publication to ensure that while we are publishing the research report, at least we should have community voice. Then one of the strategy we used, it was to form the local, the focal for land light, and that local task force, it was a composition of those civil societies, particularly the community-based organizations which are working around Bagamoyo, so that they are able to take lead of of that of that case, and they are able to lead the process. Another strategy which we used, we formed the national task force, so that we have a link between the national and the local. The task force was able to do community awareness, sensitization, and to make it to enable the community to be informed on their agenda, and also to make them comfortable and respectful of that case. But in other end, we for national task force, it didn't work well because I think the situation of the civil society within Tanzania, it hasn't been that strength. They had a sort of fear. We didn't get much support from the national level civil society as it was for local level. Maybe just because that local level people, they are the one who were facing that impact. While they are making dialogue and raising their issue, the most important tool or the most important methodology which we have used to engage with the local government, it was interface meeting, where we organized the forums with those community and the government to have a conversation between the two, between the local government and the local task force. But also because of that case, we didn't work alone. We had legal support to those local task force. We involved the legal focused organizations to keep educating people, to keep educating that task force, so that they can keep their energy of demanding their rights in terms of land rights. So looking at the process, I can say that what we have found strong, yes, it was to make sure that we involve the community-based organizations which are living closer to that community, which are affected by the problem. Another thing is to have a dialogue between the community and the local government, the interface meeting, but also in a way, it might be a research or another thing, but to have evidence-based information to profile the case. That's what I have to share for now.
That is really, really, really remarkable. Thank you so much for that Bagamoyo case. And the challenge you highlighted around how do we ensure that the affected communities are in the lead of these advocacy engagements, of these campaigns around demanding accountability and asserting their rights. It's a challenge that has been coming through often, and we like the way you have mobilized these power centers, you have mobilized the buyers at various levels, creating task forces, creating opportunities for people to talk. It appears that is something that is passing through, rather is, we had that from the Malawi case. We are also hearing that from the Tanzania case, just creating these opportunities for people to talk and discuss their issues at that local level. and then creating these linkages at national level and through different tiers in their governance and accountability system. Thank you so much. Really great insights to learn from Malawi and Tanzania. We appreciate you, the work your colleagues are doing with the communities to ensure that you create that, you resuscitate, activate that active agency for people to engage confidently in these accountability processes. And you have given us a chronology of activities, engagements on how then you realize these successes. Thank you so much. Can we then move to Zambia? Do we have any colleagues from Zambia? Okay. Can we hear from Vietnam too, please?
Thank you very much. Actually, for the skin care in Vietnam, it is we have some discussion before we start the training, and then we also have the training need assessments. I think that because we have very strong team of trainer when we carry out the training in Vietnam, so it's quite good. Because actually at that time we had BJs and Pascaline from Kenya, Nigerians from TCDCs, Namun and Ifran as well, Namun from Bangladesh and Ifran from Pakistan. So for the whole training, I think that is good because that is because Vietnam have staff turnover for quite a long time, and then many of us don't know much about skin care before. So that will sum up all the knowledge that we have done before in the community. But however,
they start to pay now.
Hello?
Okay. Hello?
Hello, I can't hear you.
What happened to my
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. It was a colleague joining. Abraham is joining.
Okay.
Yeah, please, Abraham, mute for now. Yes, Tui, tell us the experiences from Vietnam.
Okay. So I can continue, right?
Yes,
but actually for but for the film trip, I think that is good. But however, for the film trip, I think that if we can do next time, we can do it better because we should focus more on the skill. Because for the film trip, we are more talking with the local people and sharing what they are doing and how they monitoring. But I think that maybe for the next time, because actually we also discussed with the trainer for the film trip, we should prepare that what tool that they should apply for their own. So that is one thing. But overall, the training was good actually.
Okay, thanks, Tui. I think it goes to emphasize the importance of awareness raising, conscientizing members, both community facilitators. Tanzania mentioned development circles and the facilitators in there engaging with those, the role of advisors, inspirators with our partners at the local community level. How do we build this awareness? How do we build this consciousness around accountability issue? How can people do more effective power analysis to unearth hidden power forms, to unearth invisible manifestations of power, so that they come up with proper strategies to engage at that local level? And we know there's a lot of mobilization work that goes on in Vietnam We've been looking at some of the reports from there, very encouraging insights into how our partners, together with people they're working with in communities, are coming up with plans and forums and technologies to engage local authorities. Thanks a lot. Can we hear from Abraham? Abraham, the floor is yours.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please introduce yourself and go on to share your experience from Nigeria.
Okay, good morning. My name is Abraham Dinef. I'm joining the Sky Call from Nigeria office. Yeah, in Nigeria, we've actually carried out the democratic governance and accountability skill shares sometimes in the month of July. And we have 4 international staffs, 3 of them came to support the skill shares process, and 1 as a participant from Lesotho. During this training we had in Kaduna, we are able to come up with some plans for the localized program at their individual level to see how they can take forward the learning from the skill shares in their communities where they work, both towards vertical and horizontal accountabilities to all the stakeholders that are involved in providing support one or the other for the local rights programs intervention. For instance, when I made mention of the vertical accountability, I'm actually referring to the community sponsors outside the country and within the country that have been supporting this program over the years. And then the horizontal accountability is to the community people, where the child messages are collected. The parents and the rest of the people in all of these communities should know how the money that is coming through their child sponsorship is being utilized, at least to be able to have 1, value for money, 2, to also have improvement in the lives of the people that lives in poverty and exclusion. So in Nigeria, actually, we've piloted this. The plan is underway to actually compile the accountability skills and to be able to share with other federating units our learning challenges and what we think as a way forward to be able to bridge the gaps identified because of compiling the pilot of the accountability skill shares.
Okay. Yes, Abraham, thanks a lot for that insight around reinvigorating our child sponsorship area function in relation to accountability to communities as a one-way, an internal mechanism of ensuring accountability. And I think that is very healthy to not only look externally for good practice in terms of accountability or inspirational practice, we should also increasingly scrutinize our systems, our internal governance to ensure that it is sound, so that when we get out there to engage local communities, local government authorities, we are not vulnerable because of our own internal weaknesses. Now, Abraham, I want you to share with us one particular case where you have engaged local communities or local authorities in accountability work. And what was the key challenge and how did you overcome that? What method did you use? What tools did you apply? Go ahead, Abraham. Unmute. Abraham, unmute your speaker.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're on mute. We couldn't hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. But can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I said that the experience I'm going to share might not be under partnership and local right program.
Yes.
But other projects I have worked on. For instance, during the enhancing sexual reproductive health and HIV and AIDS care among internally displaced persons post-conflict project that was sponsored by the EU and Action Aid from 2008 to 2012. A lot of accountability issues came on board in the course of the project implementation. One of them is we use the platform through community facilitators, and we're able to go on different advocacy to get head posts that was supported locally by the effort of the local people through the facilitator and the people in Cross River State, where the facilitator donated one of the house he has for the head post where routine checks services took place, like immunization, routine on antenatal. But over time, through advocacy efforts, we were able to demand accountability from the local government, and we were able to post, they posted head staffs to that head post, at least 3 of them. And as I speak with you today, the head post is taken over by the government. It was initiated by the project through the effort of community facilitators we work with. So the head posts have been taken over by the local government in Cross River State, and they have posted, skilled health workers there that is on the payroll of local government. Also in Plateau State, we also have similar experience on the area of water. Yes, the project was not looking at water, but water was also very critical when we talk about health. So as a result, the people had problem of outbreak of cholera and the rest of them, and the community people also rallied around through the efforts of community facilitators. They were able to influence the government presence to provide pipe-borne water, although it is hand-pumped pipe-borne water. But as I speak with you today, the local government, one of the communities in Jos, where the project was, one of the states where the IDP project was implemented, now has a safe water to drink. And the other aspect of accountability work I can also share, since zooming on the local program in April this year, was our engagement with the Kaduna State Ministry of Women Affairs and Youth Social Development. Actually, the appraiser I participated in the appraisal that we did following the request from interest indicated by the sponsors from Brazil that they are giving us about 500 and new links, and we are looking at Kaduna because our funding is going down. And so instead of getting a consultant to go and do the appraisal exercise, I went with my line manager and other staff in the office jointly with the local right partner in Kaduna State, and we went 5 communities where we are looking at these 500 links from Brazil will be taken to. So in the course of our appraisal, we discovered that there is a disconnect between the intervention of local right program and then the community structures from the LGA to the state level, and looking at the interest of the local right program in those communities is basically on women and children. And so we made a courtesy visit to the Ministry of Women Affairs and Youth Development, and they were happy with that. We told them the challenges in this community, and then we told them the effort that the action they through the Kaduna Local Right Partner Organization have supported over the years. But we realized this support might really not go far without state coming in to actually sustain and own the process. So we made them to know all of those challenges, and they said those challenges we are talking about is actually not new to them, but that the new government is also braced up to see how they can address some of these challenges. And going forward, the department, Ministry of Women Affairs and Youth Development, invited us to support them on the platform for women development, and we're able to support them and also advise that the platform for NGO working on the area of women and children in Kaduna State should be institutionalized and should be a kind of annual event or biannual event that bring all these NGOs together, looking at what they are doing at different communities and LGAs in the state, and then the Ministry of Women Affairs can serve as a coordinating platform to look at what they are doing, request for their support, request for all that they are doing, the report of their activities, and then the Ministry of Women Affairs through that can able to assess what is coming in, what impact they are making, and we be able on their own from the state post to support further all of those, this means that each NGOs are working, looking at women and children focus. So this has been the little I've done since resuming in the local program 4 months ago when it comes to accountability.
Wonderful, wonderful. Abraham, thank you so much for that wonderful practice, inspirational practice around several challenges, especially integrating child sponsorship in programming and also linking that to governance and accountability issues pertaining at the local level. There is also interesting linkages that I'm seeing here. You mentioned that you have community facilitators orienting those ones and ensuring that they are on point, well equipped with knowledge and skills to mobilize and engage communities to start demanding accountability or engage in accountability processes. That is really, really encouraging. You also mentioned the pilots. How are pilots sites of learning? What models do we generate from these pilots? How can they then help us present a case around accountability issues from that learning that we generate from the pilots? You mentioned appraisals, and I recognize also Tanzania talked about research and gathering evidence. These appraisal processes help us generate baselines, help us gather evidence, help us strengthen our accountability positions and back them up with the actual happenings, actual findings from the local communities. And that is very important whenever we are engaging in these local accountability processes. You mentioned the role of cooperatives, you mentioned institutionalizing some of these processes with the women's ministry, where now you have established some way of working with the ministry department on a continuous basis, where you're sharing information, where you're highlighting issues, generating issues from partners, from local communities, and bringing them forth in the political agendas and programs of these ministries. I think these are really, really, really wonderful insights on how we can better engage with the local authorities as strategic, through strategic collaborations like the one you've just explained. Thanks a lot, Abraham. We're on top of the hour now. We lost a few minutes before we started. I'm requesting colleagues to hang on for some 10 more minutes so that we give opportunity to our colleagues from Zimbabwe and Somaliland to share their experiences. Toendepi and Beatrice and the colleagues with you, Toendepi, please, could you share your experiences?
Thank you, Simon. Colleagues, how are you? This is just a brief from Zimbabwe. With me today is our new Program and Policy Manager, Chipiwa. We have Kundai, one of our officers, and Beatrice, I can see she's also there. Just to share a brief in terms of what we have been doing, I'll make my presentation, I'll break my presentation actually into two. The first part is going to be looking at public service delivery in general, and then the second one, of course, is going to link that public service delivery, but also look with a bias on accountability. I'll start off with what we've been doing, actually looking at public service delivery in the areas where we have got a lot of mining going on. That is a bias on the extractive sector, looking at Mtoko and Chiazwa, where we have been empowering communities, working with our partners in terms of also them getting something from the proceeds from the mining that is going on in those areas. With respect to Chiazwa areas, that's in Manicaland, we've had a lot of diamond mining that has been going on in those areas. And then we've got Mutoko, where we have got granite mining going on, which is what we call the black gold of Mutoko. So in terms of now the proceeds that also trickle down to the local authority, to the local municipality, we've been working through our partners to empower those communities also to demand the little that can come, especially in the form of royalties, that can come to the local authority so that it can be converted towards improved service delivery. We know this has been a hotly contested area in the sense that it is very much politicized by the powers that be. But at least the communities have been able at least to try and track to say what has been channeled towards the local municipality so that it can transform itself into public services in the improvement of health, in the improvement of the general infrastructure, the roads network, in the improvement of education for the children. There are also beneficiation arrangements that have been entered into, and we've been trying to empower those communities to say, with regards to beneficiation, has that also translated into improved service delivery? To that effect, we have carried out a number of studies in our bid to try and also generate evidence, whereby we've been looking at the extent to which mining has affected women in the areas where mining is going on, and the extent to which this has also translated into gender responsive public services. I'll then move on to gender responsive public service programming, as it were, from what we are doing, also working with our partners. I can quickly mention the Safe Cities campaign and the Chicken project. These have been very good projects that we've been implementing with a bias in the urban areas, where women and the general communities at large, also including the duty bearers in the form of the councillors, to some extent the members of parliament, and also looking at the relevant parliamentary portfolio committees, where women have actually come to the forefront to say, what has the local municipality done for us lately in terms of improving service delivery? Urban areas in Zimbabwe are generally notorious for compromised service delivery, especially when it comes to power, utilities, supplies, including water as well. But we've been empowering these communities now to create a platform with the local duty bearers to say, what have we been doing in these areas? We have community scorecards where communities have been able to score what to score in terms of what the municipality has been doing. We also have got a lot that has gone on in terms of the budget tracking to say, in as much as we have this budget that has been earmarked for water supply, is it really translated into improved water supply for the communities? We have also created a platform whereby we have managed to bring together duty bearers as well as community members in terms of them also trying to analyze the Auditor General's report. And that has been very useful because it has also provided that bird's eye view in terms of the resources that have trickled down to local municipalities in terms of what they budgeted for, but also in terms of the royalties that have also been realized from the mining sector. What have they been used for? Have they really translated to any meaningful improvement in terms of public services? That has been very critical. With some of our partners, they've also initiated a very important aspect, which is what they are calling, "Where is my public servant?" So they would really want to hold the local municipalities accountable to say, where is my engineer, for instance? Where is my water engineer? What proportion or what percentage of the engineer's time has been converted towards improved service delivery? Because in some situations, you don't find some of these public servants when you want them. So with the Where is my public servant initiative, we've actually seen quite a lot of improvement in terms of service delivery, because at least the public servants can account for the time that they're devoting towards the provision of services. I can say in brief, that's pretty much what we are doing. I wish there was more time. I could actually have rambled on and on, but I can also give this time to my colleagues just to add if there's anything that they feel can also be added on to this very brief presentation. They're pretty much happy. Beatrice, anything from your end as well?
TK, I'm happy with what you presented.
Thank you, Beatrice. So back to you, Simon. That's pretty much about it from the Zimbabwean end.
Wonderful, Tendethi, with the colleagues there. Thank you so much for that. Those two you have presented and the work that is going on. A lot of learning to pick from there. And you weren't rambling on. We feel that if time allowed, we would want to hear more from you guys. Wonderful work you're doing. The emphasis around our programming, the new strategy is talking about rooted and rooting these initiatives and programs and campaigns and local experiences, getting community members, affected persons on board to take forward this work. And we are happy to hear that the partners, together with the affected communities, have started this initiative, Where is my public service, as one of the platforms for engaging around accountability issues at that local level. The studies that you have carried out, and we've heard also from the other cases that conducting these studies, generating this evidence is very, very, very important in backing up our accountability issues and demands. Yeah, thanks a lot. You've mentioned also examples of community scorecards and budget tracking, which are things in different contexts that raise different accountability challenges. And we would like to hear more in subsequent forums around how these have been, how these are working in a context like Zimbabwe. The Auditor General's reports, I think these are very important documents for civil society organizations, activists, and organizations like ours to go back to and review and scrutinize and get facts to back up our manifestos, to present in these awareness forums so that this information spreads out. Otherwise, it tends to be confined to those technical circles. Thank you so much. We have a few minutes. I would like to ask Ahmed. Ahmed, could you please tell us something quick from Somaliland?
Hi, Simon and the team, wherever you are, either in the afternoon, in the morning, or in the evening. And actually, initially I joined the session for learning mostly, but then probably I have to share what I have, at least one case, particularly on FGM in Somaliland, where actually the prevalence rate is 99.4, according to baseline conducted by ActionAid Somaliland early this year. So what are we doing and who we are doing with? Basically, we are doing advocacy, knowledge, attitude change with communities, women, youth, and also policy engagement with the government, institutions, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and other civil society organizations are also supporting us. So what we do usually is we have youth clubs at the schools so that they have to be aware of actually the implications of female young girls being cut. And also we engage with religious leaders so that they can interpret from Islamic perspective, and then traditional leaders also for actually influencing the community, because of they are the leaders, so people mostly actually listen to them. And we work with religion, the Ministry of Religion, the Ministry of Social Affairs, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Information, and for policy work. So a policy has been drafted, but then there is a little and actually issue around a word zero tolerance, where the religious leaders or the Minister of Religion is resistant, saying that has to be removed, it's too early. But then civil society, UN, other ministers, and traditional leaders mostly are saying it has to be part of the policy. And we have community conversations where we actually mobilize our partners and other civil society organizations so that they talk to communities on actually the effects of cutting female genital organ. And actually the road will be too long for us, but we are committed and we have got the momentum because we are engaged with all the actors, and we are part member. We sit also and actually contribute financially to a working group on this issue. So we are there.
Wonderful, Ahmed. We are glad that you're able to share that case around the policy work you're doing, engaging in policy dialogue around issues of female genital mutilation, women's rights, violence against women and girls. I think engaging religious and cultural leaders is very, very important. The new strategy, when it's elaborating the zero draft, it's elaborating on different forms of power, and it's talking about invisible power. And often this is very difficult to analyze. And one of the areas that this has been attributed to is around culture, traditional norms and practices, some of which are harmful. And your engagement here gives us great insight on how we can navigate these relationships and bring about some accountability to communities and the affected affected persons. Your engagement with the ministries, we would like to hear more around that in subsequent forums, but also how you have built this working group, how you have built momentum and bringing in stakeholders in this working group to ensure that this issue doesn't fall off the political agenda. Thanks a lot, Ahmed. We have run out of time. Just squeezing in a few minutes. Lucy, could you give us an overview from the platform as the lead on the governance, democratic governance area? what
ambush?
No, really, Lucy, it's not an ambush. You are putting together our input as working group for the International Platform on Democratic Governance, Working Group 1. So
I typed for you and
yes,
indicated that I think Nigeria would be a good learning point for us, especially from the platform angle, because during the skills share in Nigeria, we got to appreciate the various measures they've taken to ensure that they are challenging invisible power without necessarily causing friction within the powers that be, but instead resulting in getting women to be brought on board on their traditional councils that were previously predominantly male, and also a change in the cultural belief and practices where a girl child would be left solely to the upbringing of the mother, while the male child is left to the upbringing of the father. And at the end of the day, girls were not getting opportunities, but there's been a shift. And so I think Action Aid Nigeria would help us learn how we can get the various steps they took as an organization. And if we are taking the direction of fighting and challenging invisible power, there will be a big pointer and learning point for us.
Wonderful, wonderful, Lucy. Thanks for recalling that insight from Nigeria. I would encourage colleagues, members, and your partners to have a look and share your perspectives on the networked toolbox. In the invitation, there is a link for the network toolbox where members, staff members, but also partners and members outside the Federation are already sharing their accountability experiences, methods, and tools, how they have engaged, what techniques they have used, just like what you have mentioned for us here. I think a takeaway still remains around how do we get people talking. And from the insights we've had from Zimbabwe, Vietnam, from Zimbabwe, from Somaliland, we have learned that creating these spaces for people to talk, it doesn't have always to be a confrontational relationship when you're demanding accountability or engaging in accountability processes. These interface meetings are very important. Research is critical. Conducting appraisals and pilots is very important. Having community or citizens forum to build a case, to articulate our issues and present those to local authorities in a comprehensive manner is very important. Involving the affected communities and having them take the lead in these accountability processes is critical, as well as engaging besides government, local authorities. There are other authorities or leaders at community level, religious, be it cultural leaders, be it opinion leaders, as well as leaders, youth leaders, for instance. So I thank you all for these contributions. The conversation is continuing on the networked toolbox platform. We thank you all, and just to mention that the intergovernmental process led by UNDP and Habitat have released a roadmap for localizing the SDGs, and it focuses on implementing and monitoring at sub-national level. So there's a link I shared with you. I will share it again when we are sharing the recording, for you to look at that document and see what opportunities, emerging opportunities are there to take advantage of. Thank you so much for taking the time to participate in this hangout. Thank you so much to Caspar for administering and setting up this space for us. Until another time, please do not hesitate to drop me an email if you're proposing a topic for discussion. You're very welcome. Jesper, do you have any comment, closing remark?
Not at all. I think it went absolutely fine.
Jesper?
Hello? No, nothing from here, Simon. Thank you very much for this, and it was wonderful to listen in from my end here in the background. Thanks all.
Wonderful. We are in solidarity with colleagues in Zimbabwe. We know there's something powerful going on there. grassroots movement building up. We are watching, and we are in solidarity with you guys. Thank you so much, and until another time, look out for other invitations. Have a nice morning, evening, night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Simon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.